I think the difference and why some people might like this one more is just based on whether you've actually seen Rebels or Clone Wars and whether you know who Ahsoka Tano is or not. Because that feeling that we have with Ahsoka because we know her, I think a lot of people are having with Boba Fett because they know him and they don't know who Ahsoka is. And that character is kind of just dropped on them in that last episode. And they don't have that same emotional attachment as, we do to Ahsoka because they haven't seen the whole story. So I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's just a difference in fan bases and all these different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Star Wars has a ton of them, and I think that's all that it is. And I don't think that having that viewpoint is wrong. I mean, in my opinion, I think the last episode's better for a lot of reasons, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't fault somebody if this is their favorite episode because they just love Boba Fett and they're like, oh man, it's been 40 years and we finally get to see him. Like, I can't really fault somebody for that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not faulting. I know, Mikey. 1 second, I gotta rebuttal Caleb, not rebuttal, just kind of piggyback off that, and then we'll go to you, Pumpkin. Yeah, I will never reprimand anyone. Like, if your favorite Star Wars movie is the Christmas special, whatever thing, that's fine. You can be that way. That's fine.
It's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to judge you. But yeah, I think it's that thing of trying to meld the audiences all together. It's like, okay, we got to take the Boba Fett audience. It's like they're always trying to make it like their goal is like making it the best Star Wars possible with every single episode, literally. And I mean, they're succeeding. Go ahead, Mikey.
Oh, okay. There's 2 Christmas specials, right? They just came out with one.
I did not know. Oh, the Lego special?
Mm-hmm. It's actually pretty good.
I mean, it's pretty funny.
So
we're going to review it on
Caleb,
the podcast.
Caleb, you're wrong.
Oh, wow.
I fully agree. I think Caleb's wrong too, but I want to see if it's for the same reason.
What? Everything Caleb said was 1,000% correct. Go
disagree.
ahead, Mike. I'm turning you down.
I've finished Clone Wars. I've finished Rebels. This brings Ahsoka's episode brings no new information. There's no story driving point to that for a Star Wars consumer. It does not give you any new information. This episode gives you a lot of new information and continues the story of not only the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda's story and also side characters, but also the original trilogy, which if you say is not the most important part of Star Wars, you're wrong. But just saying this is the best episode of Mandalorian yet, in my opinion. And I understand people who love Ahsoka.
Mikey, I hope you've enjoyed your time. I hope you've enjoyed your time on the Wannabe Critic podcast.
I don't understand people's obsession with Ahsoka. She is a good character.
Even okay, Ahsoka, well, I don't understand your obsession with Boba Fett. So
I don't have an obsession with Boba Fett.
You have a freaking Boba Fett helmet.
Actually, I have a custom made redone Boba Fett helmet, so it's not even Boba Fett's helmet. So get it right.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate that if it wasn't for Boba Fett, we wouldn't have the Mandalorian or any of this? Can we just take a second to appreciate that?
That's true.
See,
for a second, like I feel like that should be noted. Yeah, he's important.
I want to hear what Caleb has to say to this. This is like the Old West. It's a show.
No, look. Here's the thing, Mikey. I get where you're coming from, but I think that's also kind of surfacey because looking at the Star Wars story as a whole, I think that Ahsoka adds way more to the entire story of Star Wars mainly because of her relationship with Anakin Skywalker and what that does to make Anakin Skywalker more of a redeeming character to where it makes the whole plot of Darth Vader coming back to the light better because you actually see the redeeming quality. If Ahsoka's not there, and you don't have Clone Wars, and you don't see a redeeming side of Anakin Skywalker, then you see him in the movies, and it's just Anakin Skywalker's gone bad from the day he was a child, and then he magically turns back. Look, this is getting way out of hand, but Boba Fett is a character who was hired by Darth Vader to capture Han Solo and then deliver him, and then he got killed by a blind Han Solo on a skiff and fell into his sarlacc pit, and that's his entire story in Star Wars until he showed up in this episode. And yeah, he's a beloved character by many, and I'm not saying that it is wrong for you to love this episode. I just said that it's totally up to your viewpoint. But to say that he is more important of a character than Ahsoka is kind of wild.
I can't agree with that. Ryan, wait, Mikey, you'll get your turn. Ryan,
got it.
What do you think of all this? You say something. Yeah, you do it.
This goes back a little bit to what Caleb had said before. You have two groups of fans, both of whom have adopted different characters. Boba Fett is what he is now because fans adopted him. George Lucas did not realize, did not realize what he had. But the fans, kind of after the fact, started, I think, building this lore on their own, and then the creators took it and ran with it because then they kind of realized what they had. And so Boba Fett was very much adopted by early fandom. Ahsoka was adopted by a lot of new fandom. And I think their adoption of her largely is what drove her evolution. So they have very similar stories as far as the evolution of their characters, the reasons that they grew, and the reasons that they became so adopted and beloved by kind of different sectors of Star Wars fandom. So I think they each have essentially similar trajectories. And a counterpoint to both, the best episode was clearly the Prison Break episode in season 1. So
I like it. Yes.
That's a good take. It's a good take.
That is a good take. I enjoy it. Go ahead, Mikey. If you have something, go ahead.
I heard nothing you just said, Ryan. My entire Zoom just froze for like a solid minute and a half.
oh well, it was brilliant. Don't worry.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. It was cutting edge stuff, and he basically said in a much more eloquent way than any of us could have that you're wrong.
So
no,
I've already had Mikey dunk on my take. Can we have Emma dunk on my take now? I want to hear.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that.
From a completely opposite direction. Let's hear it.
Mine is not nearly as
suggestive.
Yeah.
I want to hear it though. You said you completely disagreed with Caleb.
I didn't say I completely disagree with Caleb.
You said you wholeheartedly disagree with Caleb.
Roll back the tape. Roll back the tape
out of your mouth.
Okay, whatever. We'll like listeners rewind back and see if that's actually what I freaking said. That's not what I said. Okay. Anyways, I was just gonna disagree with the fact. I mean, it's been a little while ago that he said this, but I think he said something along the lines of, you know, people that have watched all the Clone Wars and the Rebels are obviously gonna like Ahsoka more, and people who have not and have just seen the past movies are gonna like Boba Fett more. And to me, I just disagree with that point. That may have not been exactly what he was trying to say, but I just my thing is just like, I don't think they're even close to being comparable characters. I mean, obviously their last episode was Ahsoka. This episode is Boba Fett. And they've both been past characters and like characters that people are excited to see. But I personally have not watched the Clone Wars or Rebels. I just started this week because of the previous episode, which I think is pretty cool that an episode of The Mandalorian got me to get started watching an entirely different show. But besides the point, after just seeing that one episode with Ahsoka, I fell in love with her character for reasons that Mikey probably would not understand, and that's okay. But I've never felt like connected to Boba Fett in any way, even though I grew up on those movies. So it's just different people like attached to different characters, and like everyone's opinion matters, but like no one's gonna have the same opinion.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a carbon copy. And I think too, like for me, I think it's also what's my saying? When someone make a shirt that says Star Wars means different things to different people, because for me, I'm obsessed with the idea of Star Wars should always revolve around hope. Like that's literally what. Go ahead, Mikey.
I have never heard you say that.
I've said that 100 times on this podcast. Literally. Don't laugh at me. I hate you. I'm turning you down.
Retcon. It's being retconned. He's retconning the show.
Literally. I've said that literally 100 times. And it's mostly been in fights with Ethan, I think. But, like, I'm obsessed with, like, the idea of hope. Just, like, it gets brought up. Like, that's what literally the entire series, the entire story of Star Wars originally is revolved around the idea of hope. A New Hope, you find it. At the end of Empire Strikes Back, you find it's like, oh, well, maybe our heroes will find themselves in a better position next time. Return of the Jedi, we literally find it's like, oh, well, there's hope for people who seem lost. Dave Filoni drives that home a lot, and like that's why I love Dave Filoni so much, is because literally the entire everything he has ever done, there is a sense of hope involved with it. And for me, like Ahsoka is that hope, like in a lot of ways. So for me personally, like I'm gonna gravitate towards that more. Whereas, and it's like to hear my wife say, like, oh my God, like I want to learn more about Ahsoka. She has 2 complete shows to go through, should she so desire. And she can literally look up the best Ahsoka episodes to watch if that's what she wants to get that story. Boba Fett, it's like I kind of agree with what Rex said, and I want to get to his points here in a minute. To me, to say that I can't agree that for me this is the best episode just because Boba Fett went ham. But if that's what you like, if that's what you like and that's what you wanted because you never connected with Ahsoka that way, then I think you got exactly what you wanted and like what you were looking for out of something like this. So, that's just kind of my take. But to kind of find, try and meld everyone's opinion all together. And basically, I just regurgitated what Ryan just said. But, for basically all you 10-year-olds out there who can't, comprehend big words, there you go. That was for you. Because I'm comparing my, intelligence to a child because I'm not very smart. Anyways, it was a failed joke. It's not a big deal. Go ahead, Rex.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If you take the characters out of it, like I was just saying, like I think the last episode or the Ahsoka episode was better just because of what was in it, not even because of the character really, but that's just me personally. And I think I see Mikey's viewpoint of, okay, this episode you get more of a Western vibe from it, and you get that cool action, that cool combat. You literally get to see like the stormtroopers, like pieces of their helmets, like flying off. And like the combat was directed really well. And the last episode, the Ahsoka episode, you get more, I don't know, like a samurai feel to it, and like a different, you get more of, I feel like there's more of a story in that one. So I do see his viewpoint, and I think it's just kind of, just small little differences.
Okay, one thing Mikey said that was just wrong was the fact that he said there was no new information in the previous episode, which is just completely wrong. We learned Grogu's freaking name. We learned that he was a Padawan. We learned like all these. Okay, don't act like that's not a big deal. That's
Mickey,
what the
come on,
show
bro.
is about.
Like, come on. You're just doing
okay.
this to do this.
I'm really not.
The definition
Okay.
of Mikey's intake. Like,
Can I defend myself? I just want to say something. Okay. So, like I said, it's got a very Western feel, right? I have never watched a samurai movie in my life, except, I mean, like, obviously there's other, you know what I mean? But Caleb's going to hate this. I do not think Ahsoka is essential to Darth Vader's story. Okay.
Look, okay, you can have that viewpoint, dude, but like,
but can I say
let's
say
stop
something?
this with the? Going back to Rex's point though? Rex has the right point. If you take Ahsoka out of that episode and replaced her with a different character, you still get more advanced to the backstory and actually learning about like Grogu and kind of the whole plot and what essential to the Mandalorian in this episode than you do in this episode. Other than he gets snatched at the end. Like, come on.
So. I just want to point this out. We learned his name, and we learned that he was on Coruscant.
And we also learned that freaking Thrawn is alive. So that's kind of huge.
That is true.
Go ahead, Ryan. I want to hear what Ryan has to say.
Yeah, I want to hear what he wants to say because, yeah.
Last episode does have one of my favorite little character moments. There's these little quiet moments that are fun. I did love when Mando and the essentially the other lieutenant are faced off while Ahsoka fights the woman, and that other guy is so casual, just like, who do you think's gonna win? I just loved how he was like so mercenary about it, and just like a casual, you could tell like a lifelong kind of second bad guy to somebody, and he's just totally chill about it. I like that. I thought that was that conveyed a lot of character very efficiently, which I thought was really cool. And there's something else that they brought out that I thought, okay, that kind of, I like it because it shoots down what I've heard said before that I didn't like. One of my complaints about the recent movies is that Rey doesn't earn any of her powers and any of her skill. And a lot of people said, well, if somebody's strong enough, then the Force speaks to them and then they can just do it. And they've been using Grogu as proof of, oh, look at this baby. He was, just naturally is able to wield the Force like he does. But that episode confirmed, no, he trained at the Jedi Temple for years, which is how he's able to do what he's able to do. So to me, that's in a way the people who actually know Star Wars saying, yeah, it takes a lot of time and a lot of instruction and practice to be able to wield the Force like someone who actually knows what they're doing.
I love that
Yeah,
take.
Can we have this guy back on when we?
Oh, anytime, right?
Yeah.
Anytime. He's a busy man. Like he is a busy man, but you're welcome anytime.
If
Caleb,
we
go
ever
ahead.
do,
I wanna hear it.
I would totally
No,
come back.
If we ever do Rise of Skywalker, I'm calling a Dalton audible.
Yeah, stay tuned for news on that, ladies and gentlemen, because it happening. Go ahead, Caleb.
No, I'll keep this brief, and it just comes down to character development for me. And just let's take Ahsoka out of this for a second, because Mikey's triggered about her for whatever dumb reason. It's you have two main characters in this TV show. You have Mando and you have Grogu, and you get more character development for Grogu in the last episode than what we've gotten over all of the previous episodes, I think, because you get more about her. You learn more about him. You learn more about his background and what he's coming from. You're seeing him actually use his powers and that he's actually trained in the Force. You're seeing all these different things about him, and he has this massive character development. It's opening up a world of possibilities, and you can't just simply shove that under the rug because you like seeing Boba Fett hit stormtroopers in the face with a big stick.
Yeah. Woo!
All right, Mikey. That better be as concise. We got to move on. We're squashing this whole thing. You guys can fight about it later, but we got to move on to Rex's critique first of all, and Ryan's critique, and Emma's critique, and Caleb's critique, and fit conspiracy theories in all in less than 30 minutes. So please go.
First of all, can we get a critique counter at the bottom of the screen?
No.
Caleb, I love you. It's just Star Wars. But I'm not a huge Boba Fett fan. I said that at the beginning.
Oh
I'm not crazy about Boba Fett. I think he's a really cool character, and I just really enjoy how Jon Favreau dropped Iron Man in there. That's why I really like that scene. But for all of the character development in the last episode for Grogu, finding out where he came from, finding out he was on Coruscant, finding out that he can use the Force, and he has a name. That's awesome. I love that character development. But this episode and basically every episode before that, I enjoyed more than that episode. Not saying it's a bad episode. Ahsoka is a great character. Putting that aside, I know you love her. You got a little crush. It's okay. But I feel like for a general audience, and especially knowing the story that I know from Clone Wars and Rebels, this is a more enjoyable story for a general audience and people who are watching this show. I think this is a better episode, in my opinion.
Whatever possessed you to check out the podcast or the YouTube channel today, I just want to say thank you so much for doing so. If this is your first time here, I would appreciate it, if you would consider subscribing. As you can tell, it's not just me here anymore. I mean, I do stuff by myself, but the podcast is going to reside here from now on, in video form. So if you want to see more content, if you want to be notified, every time we post something, whether it be a clip, a podcast, a review, an interview, whatever it may be, if it's gaming stuff, make sure you click that bell and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Thanks for sticking around, and thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the Wannabe Critic.